This is the second edition of the Creator Spotlight. So yeah, basically the whole story of the Creator Spotlight is to amplify the voice of the creators and get them visible here. Actually, we've got one here already. I'm going to bring up Zed. There with Decode a couple of weeks ago with Clayton and Daniela, where we were talking about zero waste and the initiatives that they had going on there as well. So Zed, can you hear us?
Hi, yeah, can you hear me?
Hi, yeah, loud and clear. How are you doing?
Okay, great. Good. You?
Yeah, good. Just gonna get off to a slow start here. We're waiting for one more to join us. Oh, here comes Tropical Futures. And Chris, if you can just make a request to join the live, you are more than welcome to hop up on stage here. So yeah, basically, like I was saying, the whole purpose of this series here is to amplify the voices of the creators, get people up, talk about their stories. We love hearing the stories of, not just the people who make the art and the fashion, the pattern, and that, but we also like to hear the voices of the people behind the business and how they, how they push things forward and how they drive the initiative here. So it's always good to bring in multiple different perspectives. Oh, I see the request. I didn't notice that. Yeah, okay, there we go. You should be coming up now. Yeah, okay, cool. Here we go. Right on, guys. Yeah, I'm happy that you guys can be here. I mean, it's, oh, hey, Chris, how you doing?
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
Good. Yeah, all's good. So, yeah, I mean, I was just introducing this a little bit, talking a little bit about the OX tote, which is the drop with CrowdMuse. But before we get into that actual creation experience, I wanted to get a little bit of just a little bit of context about you guys, just a bit of your background in first of all your background in fashion, and then your background in what brought you here and into CrowdMuse as well. So maybe Chris, I think if you don't mind starting, because I was looking around, I was poking around in your background. I see that you got a very diverse history from professional Counter-Strike, cultural strategy, property management, which I love it personally. I'm that kind of guy as well. I'm a bit of a generalist, and I've come across multiple different occupations, so I can totally resonate with that. I like to tell people that I've had 5 or 6 midlife crises, and I'm only in my 30s, so in a good way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but could you talk a little bit about that and how that brought you into fashion? What brought you over this direction here?
Yeah, no, sure. I guess, where do I start? Yeah, I've just been always around design. So, my mom is like a jewelry designer. And
Mm.
then so as a child, I would spend a lot of time in her studio, making basically silver stuff, as a kid.
Oh,
And
cool.
then fast forward to, I guess, 10, 12 years later, I ended up starting up a clothing line called Cipher back in the day. And it was more of just like an exploration into basically systems at the time. And I was just sort of curious about production. And then that sort of took me into, uh, you know, 8, 9 seasons later, and then stopped doing that. And then basically went to study design formally. And yeah, and then sort of fell more into design research in tech and hardware, um, as well as project management, more related to architectural and construction. And then I guess interest in systems and systems design led me to crypto back in 2015. And then um, I would just say I'm a power user, just in all sort of verticals in the space that I can handle. And yeah, and that's
Hmm.
sort of how I stumbled into CrowdMuse.
Yeah, systems design is a very like it makes you see things in patterns, right? It's interesting because there's kind of a pattern in systems and patterns in fashion, so you can kind of draw parallels between those, can't you?
Yeah, yeah, no, most certainly.
Cool. Yeah. And I just wanted to ask you, like I saw that Tropical Futures started as an alias, it said on your website, and then like it actually started picking up a little bit. So
Oh yeah, so
what?
Tropical Future is
Mhm.
more, yeah, sort of an alias for doing projects, and then you know, we sort of have, you know, it was sort of like a night job sort of thing for a long time, and then I think towards COVID, started spending a little more time in it in terms of, you know, we've done everything from merch. Some of our collections have been at Dover Street Market, amongst other stores around the world, and then we've done a bunch of art stuff. So we're like sort of the founding curator at Art to Buy Digital, um, and we've done a bunch of other art fairs, and we used to run a residency program and a space out in the Philippines back in the day. But it just sort of all over the place. It was sort of like a something to keep me sane while I was doing more of this dry project management sort of construction work.
Mm, okay, yeah, to
COVID.
bring a little bit of. Oh, sorry. I think yeah, you cut off for a moment there, but oh, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, yeah. So it was just, yeah. I mean, it was some pre-COVID, and then it sort of ebbed and flowed into full-time work, into side hustle, into you know, just I would suppose like it sort of creates different opportunities in the space.
Yeah, it's interesting because you never really know where it will take you, right? So
Yeah,
um,
trying to
yeah, I
solidify a
just
little bit more. Yeah.
trying to solidify it. Okay, yeah. So let's.
Yeah.
I'd like to come back to that in a moment here, actually, but I think Zed should be given a chance to introduce themselves, the background a little bit, and what brought you into crowd muse, what got you interested in this project here with the OX tote. Maybe you could give us a little bit of color here.
Yeah, thanks, Tyler. Thanks for, doing the research on us and also asking these insightful questions. For me, I've worked in traditional fashion for about 10 years, and for the design of this tote, it was really like I basically bring a tote every day to work with me. I do a little commute that goes through the metro, and every single tote I had, I just hated kind of digging around in it to find
Mm,
my keys, to find everything. So even before I knew about CrowdMuse, I was in my free time, I was like sewing up, prototyping a tote that I thought would be able to um, help me organize everything. That, and then also I would
hmm
always be too lazy to switch from a tote to another bag when I was flying for
hmm
business or even for pleasure. So I I just wanted to incorporate all of these features. So like something that would hold like my water bottle, and then something that would attach the tote to my luggage so I didn't have to carry it on my shoulder. It of course has to like
hmm
have my laptop inside, and then have all of the internal pockets. And then one day I was going out with to have drinks with Wes, who is also now part of CrowdMuse.
Yeah.
We had met each other at Meta Factory,
Oh yeah.
and then at the drinks with Wes, Maz was there,
Mm,
and she had this incredible like happy and yeah, she had this incredible personality, super friendly. So we started talking. She and Amon told me they were working on this thing. We got on called CrowdMuse. We got on a call, me, Chris, Amon, and Maz, and then we started sort of thinking about what we wanted to do. I had already started prototyping this bag, so I was thinking like it would be cool, like anyway, I have this bag here.
hmm
Maybe let's use it to test out what CrowdMuse is trying to do. and also push this. So, you know, maybe it can be someone else's tote aside from my own, you know.
Hmm.
Maybe it can go out in the world. Yeah, so we started talking on CrowdMuse side. Moz found us FWB as a partner for their event,
Hmm.
for their fest, and then Chris reached out to his contacts and found us Dispatch, a really
Hmm.
amazing bag manufacturer from San Francisco. So yeah, that's how the project started.
That's so cool how it always starts with like your own personal recognition of a problem, and you know, you see something that needs to be solved in the real world, and then you start kind of like experimenting around with that and thinking about how you can turn that into something that other people will enjoy as well. So yeah, I mean, what do you think was the like Zed, what was your biggest unlock when you were engaging in this process? Like maybe one of your biggest insights or your biggest aha moments as you're going through the design process of that bag, or just like maybe not even the design, but just like the thought, like, you know, taking the idea from an abstract concept into reality. What do you think was your biggest aha moment or insight?
Biggest aha moment, I would say, I think two aha moments. For me, I've always worked as a part of a company, designing for a company.
Hmm.
So to have a design that's so personal and so created by me, because when I'm working as a part of a company, there are a lot of voices that go into a design. The creative
Yeah.
directors, the merchandisers, the people who are in charge of commercial product. It always has to hit like a certain price. And then and then for this tote bag, it was more, it was more, um, the original design that I had come up with is pretty much the one that we ended up prototyping and offering. So that part where something I prototyped basically made it to market, almost as is, and also the support from CrowdMuse, um, also from Dispatch to actually realize it was very exciting. The second part, I think, which is the
Hmm.
biggest aha or the biggest learning moment for me, is after it was created, all of the selling, all of the reaching out to the community, people, creating content around it. That was something that was always very separated from what I did. And for
Hmm.
this experience, it all of a sudden had to also involve me. So this has been a great learning process and very interesting to see exactly how much work goes into kind of promoting the tote and making sure that it sells, and even making the platform on like writing the for it to be able to sell on a website on CrowdMuse, the NFT aspect of it having to be built. Usually in traditional fashion, this is handled by multiple departments. So many people, you know, are involved in this, and it seemed always so easy. And this time, it's the handful of us, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Chris, I see you laughing at it always seems so easy. It does take a lot of energy and effort to actually get something off the ground. Eh? It may seem like there's, I think it's probably because, you know, in the traditional departmental, compartmental, structured system, everyone is like it's the factory. Everyone just like goes and does that, and then they repeat, right? Where this is a very agile, kind of like a startup, where everyone is just like hustling and bringing their things together, which I assume is a little bit kind of along the lines of what Tropical Institute does. Is you're a little bit more on that agile side of things.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think with the crowd news, we were just like open to experimentation, and
Hmm.
you know, I think in terms of the use case that they're building with the platform, with regard to like digital, pre-ordering, having like sort of a digital, a digital object first prior to the physical object. I think it
Mm-hmm.
opens up a lot of different possibilities, and it's also, I think, probably one of the easier ways to deploy like NFTs as a technology stack, to create a different consumer experience. So yeah, I mean, like outside of CrowdMuse, there's like this Pokemon card platform called what's it called, like Polygarden or something, where you can like mail in your Pokemon card, and they basically digitize it. So I sort of see it along those lines
Oh yeah.
where like even for example in China, like people people like trading receipts for like bag pre-orders or like luxury good pre-orders and things like that. So like that's sort of how I see CrowdMuse, like in a maybe a future context that's a little bit more uh, maybe further down the line, a little bit more ease of use,
Mm-hmm.
easier to access sort of digital objects. So yeah, when the opportunity came up and Zed and I were working on like the tote for tropical futures, and then the crowd news, the conversation with crowd news came up, and then it was sort of like a good alignment. And then we were already in the process of looking at different factories, and and it just so happened that like in this sort of conversation with crowd news, the introduction to Dispatch, which is quite a legendary bag maker, came around. So I
Mm-hmm.
would say like yeah, the agileness, we're just open to trying things, and obviously in this, you know, outside of crypto, it's like or like Web3 creator content, it's a bit it's still quite new, and then or even
Mm-hmm.
within the space too, right? So I think that's what really led us to this moment where it was just like because we had also done some work with MetaFactory back in the day as well, and we thought just for everyone that's listening, MetaFactory is like a creator DAO that where you design, it pairs designers with different companies and communities. But we thought like what CrowdMuse was doing was, obviously taking a lot from there, and then and sort of iterating, I would say, the next step forward in this sort of bridging this experience to like a broader audience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, interesting story is that crowd news actually did not originally start related to fashion, and I mean that's a whole story for another day. But many startups are like that, where they start with like OpenSea was a Wi-Fi coin, for example, right? They always start with some kind of like different vertical, and then as they evolve, they see where the best way to apply, because it's more of a system, right? Trying to apply that system to make something more useful and increase value in that particular vertical, and then seeing how that can evolve later on. So um, I'd like to kind of touch a little bit on, I mean, like I was looking on Tropical Futures website, and it seems to me that the values of this organization is co-creation, and then you also provide, early stage investment and strategy to people who also are, similarly aligned, and then also see the crossover between Web3 and crypto, enabling real world use cases. Chris, am I on the right track there, or would you add anything or
Yeah,
take anything from
I,
that?
I mean, I guess the copy is like sort of that's sort of where we've been transitioning and playing in.
Mm-hmm.
I think prior to that, when we had a physical space, it was more about practicing in in Cebu, where we had a space for a long time. But since COVID, uh, I guess like sort of pivoting in terms of like reorientating like interest, my personal interest, as well as opportunities in the space. Just because I've been in crypto for a long time too, so it was sort of a moment to re-engage. And then so yeah, I mean like we had done some, you know, in Web3 and in Web2, but it's not really front facing stuff. So like we did some VC work, like biz dev strategy for a decentralized governance tooling startup last year, and then this year we're doing some like cultural strategy for a streaming company in the Philippines, and
Mm-hmm.
then so between that and then just exploring with something like CrowdMuse and um, and obviously just just being active in the space and really um, just yeah, I would say participating in it depends on like I suppose like what comes up in terms of like the other thing this year too is like sort of playing around doing a lot we did a lot more collaborations with friends brands and other sort of studios and agencies. So that's been like a fun thing that we've been doing outside of some more of the crypto and tech aligned stuff.
Okay, cool. So then, how would you say that this creative process or this bag or this collaboration, co-creation experience fits into the values of Tropical Futures?
Well, I guess like in terms of yeah, just multi-stakeholder, it is related to I would say like some sort of future with regards to as I was sharing earlier about uh, digital or like digital physical or
Mm-hmm.
sort of that interest in having like uh, I guess like it would be like some sort of marketplace prior to like a physical object launch or a marketplace for physical objects.
Mm-hmm.
So it sort of like plays into that space, and then that sort of aligns with the sort of the bag project that Zed and I were doing. So it's sort of like it's taking all these different, I would say, angles and spaces of interest,
Mm-hmm.
and then here we are. I mean, like I guess it's been a maybe like 4 months or 5 months. I guess it's been like since
Mm-hmm.
like initial conversation. So it's been
Mm-hmm.
a good journey, I would say.
Oh
And
yeah,
for us,
yeah.
it's like our first like digital sort of exploration.
Okay.
Um, so it's been cool.
Yeah, phygital or digiphysical, whatever you want to call it. The jury is still out on that topic. Yeah. Well, all the big brands they like phygital, but the like you see a lot of it picking up with like Nike, Artifact. I imagine that the luxury brands are going to start doing it too because they have their own consortium blockchain and stuff like that. So it's really starting to pick up here. And then well, I think what CrowdMuse is trying to differentiate itself with is the co-ownership process, where, like you said, multi-stakeholders, where it's not just like, you as a designer or creator come and work for us, and then we give you a salary type thing. It's we all own a part of the process of creation. So, I mean, I want to transition a little bit to Zed here. What about Zed? Your values as a designer, creator, artist. What if you could maybe give one or two or three of those, and how would you describe those as fitting into this experience of co-creation and bag design here with OX Tote?
Oh, that's a good question. My values, oh man, I've never really thought about this before. Um, I think, I think my values of design, it has to, I don't know, it has to be like good design, but then you have to argue what is good design. Um, and over the years, and I've worked in fashion, I've kind of discovered that it's multiple factors. It's not only the way it looks, but also the smart way of integrating a specific material, pricing it so that it's available and uh, it's attainable for the people you want it to be, you intend for it to be attainable for. And then lately, I think also social issues are very important, of course. So sharing the profit was something that I was attracted to in like crowd muses, what they're trying to do. So in the traditional, yeah, like you were saying, in the traditional design world, I have a salary from a company. Also, the factory, they receive money that is negotiated for a certain production run. And then if this item pops off, then it's, the company pockets um, the profit, and how much the factory, the makers or the designer get is very much based on what they were able to negotiate based on their like the pool of that industry resources. So the factory compete with other factories for that contract. Designers compete with other designers for how much they would get. So of course now we know, like, so many of these issues have been in the spotlight, right? Where maybe factories aren't paid a sustainable wage for their workers. So
Hmm.
yeah, this aspect was interesting to me to explore and to see
Fairness.
how it really works. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, it sounds like fairness is coming through a lot based on what you're saying there.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a complicated, very complex theme.
Hmm.
I think that multiple factors go in, like, and it's not something that we can cover just by me talking about it. But I learn best when I do, and um, I understand systems better when I actually participate.
Hmm.
So it was good to participate in this and to kind of see how it would work.
That's very true. Yeah, is because you have to actually go through the motions in order to understand how the system is going to function. And I think experimentation is a core value of CrowdMuse as well, in the fact that, we have a vision of how it can work, but we may or may not have that answer. So we're kind of trying to listen closely to the voices of the creators, the voices of the designers, the people who run the businesses, the people who run the factories, the audience, the buyers, the consumers, everyone who wants something, um, and then turning it into, yeah, like that multi-stakeholder model where everyone is a collective owner in the co-creative process, and then they can share that if they see something that they resonate with. So I got a bit of a funny question. Answer it as you can. How would you describe this bag if it was a person? So you talked a little bit about, like, let's start with Zed because it's your baby. You talked a little bit about, like, the problems that it was solving. But if you were to see this as a person, how would you describe it in, like, one sentence or two?
I can think of a Chinese phrase. I'm originally
Mm-hmm.
from China. It's called 能干, which
Mm-hmm.
literally translates into can do.
Oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
And it's yeah, and it's uh I guess it takes on the meaning of an attitude where whatever comes your way, you try to, or you do your best to do it. And
Mm-hmm.
the last time I, read about it was I was rereading the Joy Luck Club this summer, and there's a character in there. There's a immigrant family in there who are described as 能干, where whatever comes their way, they make the best of it. And obviously, this was something I designed reflecting in my morning commute, where I'm just trying to get from point A to point B, without any obstacles and without having to waste time. So
Hmm.
yeah, everything about this tote is designed for convenience and to help during this commute, to carry all of the things and to make things easier. Also, the material, which is Cordura, is supposed to be is designed to be long lasting. Yeah, I would say
That
Nangan.
that's cool because that makes me think of like perseverance in the face of difficulty or durability. Like, yeah, okay. Chris, how about you?
Uh, Great question. I haven't really thought about the tote personified. I guess on a very surface level, it's kind of like some Gorp core tech art person. Um, but
Hmm.
I think beyond that, uh, yeah, I mean, like, what Zed was saying, it was a very conscious decision to use ballistic nylon. And, we like the way it's designed in terms of it's definitely sturdy, sturdy, reliable. Uh, I would say it's also like unassuming, but is also um, it has depth. I would say, yeah, because like it goes beyond like your typical bag, and I think it's like in between that tote and a bag sort of thing. Like I think if
Hmm.
I had to restart the project, we'd probably just call it 0x bag because I think it's more of a bag than a tote per se. But
Hmm.
yeah, so I think like yeah, I guess to be fun, trying to be funny, yeah, Gorp core tech person, yeah,
Okay, yeah. So there's more to it than meets the eye, is what I understand from that.
yeah, for sure.
Hmm. All right, cool. Yeah, that's great. I mean, I think it's interesting to think about because the ideas are like people, right? They're born out of our conceptions. So I'd like to, just start winding it up here, but maybe if you guys have a couple of quick closing remarks, or how do you see fashion evolving in terms of, like we've talked about, this co-creation, co-ownership stuff, or if there's any other path, like what is your vision of a future of fashion? So I'll let Zed answer here first. You have any closing comments, or do you have any thoughts on how you see fashion going forward?
I see fashion going forward where a lot of smaller creators, I mean, I think it's already happening today, where a lot of
Hmm.
smaller creators start to hold together a greater piece of the public attention. And I hope that small creators can be enabled to sustain themselves for a long time, do collaborations, and have fun in the process of design, while still being able to, yeah, sustain themselves. I think a lot of this is already happening, and it enriches what we as consumers also are able to consume in the market. But it's not, for me, fashion is not only what you are wearing. It's not only items that you put on your body to look good. A lot of the times, especially with these smaller creators, I feel like it is a participation in a community. It is an energy that is passed around, bought with the garment, and then expressed. It is a vote of confidence for small creators as well, when someone else wears their stuff and really enjoys it. Yeah, I think, and I hope that small creators are able to continue in the future, do more of what they want, and also be able to sustain themselves.
Yeah, that's so cool. I think I totally resonate with that. I think that, yeah, having the tools that enable the small creators to, sustain themselves in a way that they actually, do what they love to do. That's a big part of what we're trying to do as well here. So, yeah, I think that humanity is just trying to learn how to use things like the internet and the blockchain. And I think that those kinds of systems, that if we can get them in place and fully operational, we have an opportunity to disrupt these incumbent giants that control most of the flow of value in the industry. So, yeah, thank you. Chris, how about you?
So the question's future of fashion.
Yeah, where do you see fashion going? And do you have any closing comments or anything else you'd like to add?
Um, I guess like there, you know, I suppose it'd be like on the axis of like globalization, like Uniqlo, and then on the other side there's like a local brand, you know, that's just has a few thousand followers. But I hope there's more, I think, increasing, um, sort of discovery of independent designers, creators, artists, and
Mm-hmm.
sort of like I would say like if you're in the middle, it's extremely hard. It's either like you're super mass or ultra luxury, or you're micro niche and you have your own narrative within your own community.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I just hope that it's just like the scales tip towards um, people. Sure, you'll buy your whatever your Uniqlo base, but then you're gonna also buy like something from a designer that you actually know or is a friend of a friend, um, or it's an artisan that's made something locally. And I think that's sort of the hope, where it's sort of like a reverse globalization in the sense that um,
Mm-hmm.
the supply chain is either like conscious or it's localized, or it's just like more considered, where it's like not some global system that spans the although like obviously making this bag, we still deploy certain systems, but it's not like tapping into the system of design that produces something for a big brand store.
Mm-hmm.
There's much more, I think, local forces. Like for example, with Dispatch, the bag is sewn in LA, and it was released at FWB Fest, which
Mm-hmm.
is, I guess, like it is like, based on the internet, but a lot of people do live in California in FWB, and then
Mm-hmm.
like Zed and I are both independent creators that are in fashion design and in playing around in Web3. So yeah, if there's anything I would like to say, it's probably just like hoping that more people tilt towards supporting supporting what's in your first or second degree, um, for independent creators.
Totally. Yeah, I see that as well. Actually, I've started to notice that obviously we buy simple, basic things for survival needs, just to, you know, make sure we're wearing something on ourselves when we go outside. But then I see more and more people trying to, add to that with thoughtful choices of purchases that have stories behind them. And it's the kind of identity, it's the vibe economy, like we want to buy things that we can tell our friends about, that we resonate with, where, same reason why people have paid lots of money for profile pictures of NFTs is because they resonate with the community. So it's the same story. Fashion is just the original version of that story, where we have certain items that show the world who we are, and um, the stories behind that. So cool. I mean, I don't want to keep you guys too long. If you have any other comments, any closing remarks?
No,
Closing
thanks so much for these
remarks.
questions, Tyler.
I have a closing remark.
Go for it.
Zero X Tote is still on sale on crowdmuse.xyz. If you haven't seen it yet, Yeah, it holds your,
Yeah, please.
it holds everything that you need. You can use it to go to the airport and travel. It's made in the USA out of ballistic nylon. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it.
That's awesome. I was actually going to do that, but it's better when it comes directly from the person who created it. So yeah, and the other thing too is it's more than just a bag. What happens is when you purchase the bag on CrowdMuse, your money automatically gets distributed. Yes, I did say magic, to everyone who was involved in that process. So basically, that's why we use the blockchain. Is you come on and you purchase the digital representation of the bag, and then your funds get distributed automatically to all of the people who were involved in it, such as our dear creators who are here on the show today with us now. So yeah, I mean, it's exciting times. We're looking at the future of fashion. So thanks a lot, guys, for coming. We had a great time chatting, and hope to talk to you again soon.
Yeah, thanks, Tyler.
Thanks, Tyler. Thanks,
Yeah,
guys. Bye.
thanks. Yeah, bye bye.
Bye.